Hi and welcome to another video from me here at Self Love Yoga. You're very welcome back to my channel, and just a quick reminder before we start this video, if you like it, please hit that like button and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. So just take a second now to tap into the breath, drop out of the thinking mind, and if you feel comfortable, you can always place a hand to the heart and your other hand on your lower belly. Just feel your breath moving in and out. Today's class, we're going to theme around feeling into our body, looking inside rather than outside. Just letting go of what we think things should look like and instead intuit our way by how things feel. Breathing in deep and slow here. Feeling the belly rise as you inhale, and feeling the navel drawing back in towards the spine as you release all of the air out. Then taking the hands to the knees when you're ready, just roll those shoulders up and back as we inhale to elongate the spine. And as you exhale, we're going to begin to take the hands forward, walking them out as far as you can without your sit bones coming off of the ground. And if you have that flexibility, you can take your forearms down to the ground. Otherwise, feel free to stay up on the fingertips. And perhaps you'd like to use a block here for under the head, as we're going to take some longer holds in our poses today, really surrendering into them, taking our time. Just breathe as you sit here. Try to relax the shoulders and the forehead. Inhaling, finding space, and exhaling, trying to soften anywhere in the body. Last big deep breath in here. And as you exhale, coming up, walking the hands back in towards you. And whatever leg is crossed in front, you're going to take your hands and walk it out to the opposite side of the leg that's in front. Folding back down, just walking the hands to your edge. And again, you can take your block and place it on your thigh or your knee so that your head can rest on the block. If this is too intense of a stretch, you can always stay up on the fingertips. Just find your edge. Feeling this lovely stretch into the outer opposite hip. Use your breath to sink into this pose. Deep inhales, slow and long exhales. And take your last deep inhale here. Exhale, release the tension. I'm going to slowly walk the hands back into center now. We're going to change the cross of the legs. So whatever leg you had on the outside, just change the cross now. Opposite shin in front of opposite shin. If you feel it's difficult to cross your legs, you can always take cushions under the knees and then walk those hands out the opposite side of your front crossed leg. And take your block here again on your thigh or knee. Remember that you can take the block on whatever level feels good. Meet yourself where you're at. Perhaps one side is tighter than the other. Listen to your body. And perhaps the longer you sit in position, you might soften slightly, and you could take the level of the block down, or perhaps not. Perhaps today you just need to stay where you are. Use the breath, and as you inhale, feeling the breath coming up from the bottom of your lungs. As you exhale, release and soften into the outer hip. Beautiful. Breathing deep. Last deep inhale here, and exhaling to walk your hands back up and remove your block. Take a second now of rebound just to notice how the hips feel. Good job. And come to take the soles of your feet to touch, coming into our butterfly pose. And as we first set up in this pose, you can take the hands wherever is comfortable, the ankles, shins or feet, and just begin to post the knees apart like a butterfly. Take your elbows to your inner knees. Keep your back nice and long here as you fold from your hip crease. We're just here for a breath or two. Gentle pressure on the knees. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, we're going to take the feet a little longer away from the body, more of a diamond shape. Take your arms, if you can, and place them under your shins, and allow the back to round here now. The head can drop heavy. Calm your breath. And just notice here if your mind is already clearing. If you have any thoughts, just noticing with non-judgment and returning to the breath. Softening and relaxing, allowing the back to round, allowing the head to drop further towards the groin. Just being present with your breath. Great job, yogis. You can release the hands, walking them back up. Take the hands to the outside of the knees and gently guide them back in. And we'll take a few windshield wipers with the legs now, rolling over our hips. And in your own time, I invite you to come into a tabletop position. Just setting up with your wrists under your shoulders and your knees stacked under your hips. Make sure to actively press into the mat, into all fingertips. And we'll take a couple of cat-cows here. So dipping the belly, lifting the gaze as you inhale, and rounding through the spine, tucking chin to chest on your exhale. Creating space in the lower back. Exhaling to round and inhaling, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the gaze. Find your own pace with your own breath here, and perhaps take a little bit of movement. Maybe rocking back to child's pose as you exhale, and as you inhale, coming forward over those wrists. You could take some figure of eights or whatever feels good for you here, just listening to your own body. And perhaps we'll walk back and sit on our heels as we come onto the tops of our hands, keeping your arms straight for a little wrist stretch. It's a great one for nowadays when we're always on laptops and phones. Use your breath here. It can be quite intense. And coming back up to tabletop, we're going to walk through to heart melting pose. So take your hands wider than your shoulders and walk them forward, keeping your knees under your hips. You can always take a cushion or a block under the forehead. This can be quite intense on the shoulders. Deep breaths here. Feeling into your body. Keeping the breath smooth and relaxed. We won't be here for long. And slowly walking those hands back up. Be gentle and mindful with your body. Taking your big toes to touch, draw your sit bones back towards your heels. Your knees are wide. We're going to come into wide-legged child's pose. Feel free to take a block or pillow under your forehead or underneath your sit bones on top of your heels. Make your way to whatever version of child's pose that you're in, stretching the arms out long in front of you. And just begin to breathe into the back body. You can take a little rock of the forehead here, massaging the third eye. Beautiful. Good job. As you exhale, softening into those hips. Enjoying the space, listening to your breath. Notice where in the body needs to relax. And slowly we're going to leave the right arm stretched out and take our left arm, place it through underneath the right, coming down on left shoulder and left ear for thread the needle. Connect back in with your breath. Breathing into the side body, the left shoulder. And trying to relax anywhere that you can as you exhale. Super work. Take another deep inhale here, breathing right the way down from the nose down to the hips. Exhale slow and long. And then taking your left hand out, stretch your left hand out long, and this time slide your right arm under left, coming onto right shoulder and right ear. And settle into this version. Notice if this side feels more easeful or more tight than the other side. Just noticing without judgment. Noticing here what parts of your body need to relax and release a little bit more. Inhaling deeply, and as you exhale, long and slow. and shift that arm back out, and both arms stretch long in front of you again. Forehead melts back to the earth. Just taking a second here and rebound. You can take a wiggle of the shoulders or the hips, any small movement that feels good. And then in your own time, begin to shift up, coming forward into a seal pose. Tops of feet press into the mat. Arms are straight. So your back bend. Broaden through the shoulders here. And shift back up onto your hands and knees when you're ready. As you inhale, stretch the right leg out and up behind you, and as you exhale, take right knee to the back of right wrist. Sliding the left leg back, we're going to come into Sleeping Swan. Making sure your hips are level here, and then folding down to the ground. You can take a block or a cushion under the forehead. Making sure your back left leg is straight, your hips are facing the top of the mat. And allow your body to soften in this pose. As we move our body today, we're hoping that we will see things clearer after our practice. So just connect with your inner self as you lie here with your breath. Deep inhale, sending your breath right the way down to the hip, and as you exhale, walk those hands back up, come up onto the fingertips, squeeze into the glute, and then untuck the back toes and lift the knee out back into tabletop. This time we'll inhale the left leg up and back, and then exhale that left knee to the back of the left wrist. So your shin is parallel with the top of the mat. You're stretching your right leg back, making sure our hips are level before folding down. Again, taking your head to a block or a cushion if that feels good. Or perhaps on this side, if you're feeling more open, you can take your head to the ground. Just being where you are. Not judging yourself, just accepting. Using your breath to soften in this pose. Take a deep inhale here again. Exhale to release all of the air out nice and slow, keeping it long and calm. And slowly walking those hands back towards the body, coming up on the fingertips once more. Small back bend, lifting up the back toes and stepping the knees back out. For our next pose now, we're going to take a cushion. I have a little bolster here, but in hindsight it would have been better with a cushion. Take a cushion and just place the cushion into the skirting board, where the skirting board meets the floor. Take your knee, the left knee we'll start with, and make sure that your knee is right in that corner of the skirting board and the floor. Your hands are placed on the floor and you step your right foot up beside your hands, making sure your knee is stacked over your ankle, and then come up with your hands onto that right thigh. This is a deep quad stretch, so you won't be here for too long. Make sure that that left shin that's against the wall has the foot flat. The back of the foot is flat on the wall. Inhale deeply here, And as you exhale, try to straighten your body. The closer your body is to the wall, the more the stretch. Find your point of focus here, or else you can close your eyes, whatever feels good. Listen to your body. Deep breaths. You're doing great. Maybe taking the hands back to the wall and leaning your back right against the wall before we come down onto the hands. Slowly release that left knee down and then take the left knee off of the cushion. We're just going to come for a second sitting on our sit bones to just stretch out the legs and maybe flex and point the toes a couple of times. And then we're going to set up for the other side. So we'll take our right knee into that corner of the skirting board in the floor and make sure that the knee is right in that corner. The shin is pressed up against the wall, as is the back of the foot. And then stepping on the left foot, knee is stacked over left ankle, and your hands come up. Place them on the left thigh. And this side might feel totally different to the other side, just noticing. Take this shape as it is and as you are. And trust that it doesn't matter how this looks, it matters how it feels in your body. Breathe deeply. Keeping with your breath, keeping your focus, and perhaps if you'd like to drop the hands and press back against the wall before we slowly come down with our hands, come down onto that left knee and release the right knee. Again, stretch those legs out long and point and flex the toes a couple of times. And if it feels good, you can window shield wipe those legs again. Make any movements that work for your body here. We're going to come to lie on the ground. Make your way down slowly. And I invite you to hug in your knees now to your chest. Perhaps give a little rock on the lower back. Rocking those knees. And then take both legs out long. And draw that right knee back into the body. Flexing both toes, and using your left hand, we're going to cross that right knee over the body. We're coming in for a cat's tail twist. Using your right hand, bend your left leg and take a hold of it. So your right hand is grabbing left foot, and your left hand is holding that right knee. Take your gaze to look towards the right if it feels good on your neck. And then breathe deeply. It's a really nice twist. Really working multiple areas here. Allowing your right shoulder to melt towards the earth. Relaxing into this pose. And on your next exhale, you can return your head to center. Release that left foot and taking your right knee back over the body, hug it back in towards right shoulder and just give your right ankle a little roll. Then taking both knees into the body and release your right leg down this time. Taking your left knee with your right hand and gently crossing that right knee over the body. Take your time, be mindful here. And bending your right foot up, catching it with your left hand, taking your gaze over to the left. Settle into stillness once more. Connect to your body and your breath. You can always use a cushion under the knees if that feels good. Perhaps catching hold of your foot is not for you today. Honor what your body needs. Take another big, deep inhale here. As you exhale, return the head to center. Release hold of left foot and crossing that knee back over the body. Hug that left knee into left shoulder and roll that left ankle a couple of times. You can draw both knees in now and hug them into the chest once more. We're going to take happy baby now. So if you'd like to take hold of the outside of your feet, pointing them to the ceiling, knees towards underarms, or you can take the backs of your thighs and just rock the spine. Do you, whatever your body's calling for. Giving the knees one last squeeze into the chest here, bring nose to knees before we release. We're going to come to my favorite part of today's class. So sitting up, take your body as close into the wall as you can. We're going to come to legs up the wall. And lie down so your body is right next to the wall. And then swing those legs up so that your bottom is right up against the wall. You can take the legs close together or you can take them wide apart, yogi's choice. Your hands can come to your heart, your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your belly, or if you wish, you can take arms out wide. Take up as much space as you need. Settle into this pose and just feel relaxed and restful. It's a great pose if you're someone who stands on your feet all day. If you ever get swollen ankles, it's a super pose. It's also a very passive stretch on the hamstrings. As you inhale, just feeling your back body on the ground. And as you exhale, soften those shoulders, soften the jaw. We're going to come into our Shavasana pose now. Feel free to stay with legs against the wall for Shavasana for today, or if you would prefer, you can take your legs down and come into a typical corpse position, lying on the ground. Your legs can come as wide as the mat with your feet turned out, arms alongside the body and palms turned upwards, taking up as much space as you need. If you would prefer to stay with your legs up the wall, perhaps taking your left hand to your heart space and right hand to your lower belly, connecting back into your breath. Perhaps if you've had your legs in a wide straddle, perhaps you can widen them a little more for Shavasana, or not. Whatever your body needs, try to honor it now. Feeling held and supported by the floor or the wall. Let go of any holding that you had with your breath. Deep inhale through the nose and open the mouth, and just exhale loudly through the mouth. Just let everything go. Just take this time with your thoughts and your breath to be still and present. And as your mind and body rest, notice what subtle messages appear and flicker, and notice what truths get revealed to you in times of stillness. When you're ready, taking a stretch or a movement of the toes or hands. If you're up against the wall, you can make your way down. We're going to turn onto our side in the fetal position. If you have longer to stay in Shavasana today, please do, but otherwise join me in the fetal position on whatever side feels most comfortable. Take a breath here and then make your way up to a comfortable cross-legged seat. Sitting up nice and tall, palms to knees, and perhaps taking the cross of your legs the opposite way than you did at the start of class. Just for some balance in the body. Inhale to sit up tall, sweeping the arms up over you, gathering all that love and light. Palms meet at the top, thumbs draw to forehead. Setting an intention this week to have kind and loving thoughts about yourself and others. Thumbs move to the lips. Setting an intention this week that whatever passes those lips is nourishing for your body. And then drawing your thumbs to your heart space, setting an intention for kind and loving actions towards yourself and others this week. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Thank you so much again, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.